Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, back with another reaction video. Today, we're going to react to the greatest NFL video game of all time. And no, it is not Madden. This is by Soft Drink TV. He makes hella dope content on video game, mostly sports video games. He's a sports video game guy just like me. I appreciate him and all the contributions he does. But this is the greatest NFL video game of all time. And no, it is not a Madden at all.
ESPN NFL 2K5 is considered by many to be the greatest sports video game of all time.
And by the way, I do have it on my Xbox. I do plan on doing an NFL series pretty soon. But I'm going to wait till the NFL season starts up again before we do 2K5, because I'm trying to learn 2K5 because I ain't played that game in a long time. I ain't played 2K5 since 2005. That's how long it's been, y'all. Plus, I also got Madden 12 because that's the last Madden that was on the PlayStation 2. So that's like Cam Newton was a rookie and all this shit. So yeah. Yeah, so we just gonna go on ahead and watch this one though, man. Yeah.
Released in 2004, just about 15 years ago, the last NFL game made by 2K has built a bulletproof legacy. As time goes on, NFL 2K5 remains king. In 2016, Time Magazine ranked 2K5 as the 41st best video game of all time. In 2014, Polygon writer Owen Good referred to NFL 2K5 as sports video gaming's King Arthur, eternally populist, noble and heroic, champion of an age long ago. Developers of Madden, the only game with the rights to the NFL license, are haunted by 2K5. Some ridicule it. Each year Madden is compared to 2K5, and usually in a negative way, as Electronic Arts has failed to make a game good enough to convincingly end the debate. ESPN NFL 2K5 cannot be ignored. It has become more than just a game. A movement, if you will.
Yep.
Since EA has signed the exclusive rights agreement with the NFL in 2005,
fuck EA.
The reputation of the final 2K NFL game has only grown stronger, while EA's has grown weaker. Visual Concepts created a masterpiece. 2K5 isn't revered so much simply because it was the final iteration of its series. The product was polished, deep, and created with more attention to detail and care for the sport it simulates than we may ever see again. As the gaming industry becomes more reliant on milking consumers for money and competitive online play becomes more popular than ever, simulation sports games are becoming a thing of the past. There will never be another ESPN NFL 2K5. The incredible craftsmanship Visual Concepts put into this game is evident immediately. The player is greeted by a familiar ESPN menu presentation, with branding and music from the network. ESPN wasn't included just for advertising, it was included for immersion. This hyper-realistic presentation was the biggest selling point of 2K4, known as ESPN NFL Football. 2K5 perfected it. One of the most common talking points about this game is the ESPN halftime and post-game shows, as well as the weekly SportsCenter updates. The immersion and depth of these segments were so ahead of their time that EA's Madden has been unable to replicate them to this very day. The halftime shows of modern Madden remain unimpressive, and the game has nothing comparable to 2K's weekly wrap-up show. 2K5 was so intelligent that Chris Berman would mention a player spinning or bobbling a catch while commentating over the highlights. It was very obvious that those working on the game, from the executives to the developers, loved football with a passion and put their heart and soul into this game, which is something you wouldn't be able to say about the Madden series. It was 2004. Microsoft had canceled NFL Fever in an attempt to convince EA to put Madden 05 on Xbox Live. 989's NFL Game Day series was over, as well as Midway's NFL Blitz series. Sega, who owned 2K at the time, was the sole competitor to EA, and had been right on their heels in sales for years. In what was hailed as one of the greatest, most insidious guerrilla warfare moves in the history of video game competition, ESPN NFL 2K5 released for $19.99 on July.
Yep. The people at 2K, They pulled a Chinese market move on their competition. They put out the same amount of product as their competitors, but they sold it cheaper. 2K5 was $20. I mean, NBA 2K5 was $20. NFL 2K5 was $20. I believe they had a baseball game and an NHL game at that time too. Those were also $20. They put a Chinese market. They put a Chinese market move on their competitors. Now everybody was fine with it except for the NFL. The NFL, they had a problem with that. They did not like the fact that a game was being sold for a cheap price. And why? Because the NFL, they're money hungry, greedy assholes. Pretty plain and simple.
20th, 2004. This was a month before Madden 2005, and $30 cheaper. The move reportedly scared the hell out of EA. The result of this ended up being more drastic than Sega would have anticipated, but at the time this was seen as a genius decision. Hardcore Madden fans were tempted to buy the cheaper alternative while they waited for the start of the NFL season as well as the new Madden, and it worked. The game outsold Madden 2005 on Xbox, 938,000 copies to 774,000, and came close to Madden on PS2, selling 1.25 million copies to Madden's 1.9 million. The game received critical acclaim and was considered superior to EA's Madden 2005 at a lower price tag. The graphics were much more realistic and polished than Madden's. Players had accurate face scans. For example, Drew Brees had his birthmark on his face. This was overkill for a game on the PS2 Xbox era, but the Visual Concepts team truly cared about their product. They knew the only way they would stand a chance against EA would be by releasing the best football game ever. Player models, uniforms, all blew Madden 2005 away, and the game featured a lot more signature animations. Visual Concepts got actual NFL players in their studio for motion capture, something EA still doesn't do with Madden. Having Tom Brady and Brian Urlacher in the studio for their signature animations brought the game to life. Visually, the game was nothing like anyone had ever seen in a football video game. The game's depth was unrivaled. The 25th anniversary mode allowed players to relive classic moments in NFL history. Not only was this mode crazy fun, but it taught most players some history. It was educational in a cool way. The historic teams were customizable and already had accurate ratings. The player names just had to be edited in. The franchise mode was incredible. The ability to pay players out of retirement has still not found its way to Madden. You could reline divisions and conferences, playoff stats were tracked, and the weekly training was crazy deep for those interested in a football manager type game. Users were given a set amount of time each week to choose activities that would help develop their players. Between all of that and the SportsCenter wrap-up shows at the end of each week, many consider the franchise mode of NFL 2K5 to be the most immersive ever. There was also first-person football, which was innovative and risky for its time. It added an entirely new way to play football video games. Love it or hate it, the feature added a new way to play the game that put into perspective just how difficult it was to be an NFL player when you don't have a full bird's-eye view of the field. The crib was what really set the game apart. For those who enjoy completing or 100%ing a game, the crib was a mode where you decorated a house with items you could unlock with points earned by playing the game. There were all sorts of different challenges, from player-specific ones such as scoring 2 pick sixes with Champ Bailey in one game, to franchise mode ones such as winning consecutive Super Bowls. There were also celebrities who would challenge you to games in the crib and talk trash with you during the game. You could use the points you earned to buy playable air hockey or paper football tables, as well as collect jerseys, bobbleheads, and other NFL memorabilia. All of this in a $20 game. Madden 2005, while a good game, and arguably the peak of the Madden series, didn't have all this. The biggest change from ESPN NFL Football, aka 2K4, was the VIP system. Everything you did in 2K5 was tracked, from how many times you selected a play, to how many times you went for it on fourth down, to how many times you ran the ball to the outside right of the field. Everything you did was saved to this tiny VIP profile, which you could then play against. That's right, you could play against an AI version of yourself, or you could share your VIP profile with your friends and play them when they weren't there. This feature was ahead of its time by probably 50 years. People nowadays like to complain about the CPU getting boring. Well, this was a great way to spice things up. Imagine downloading the VIP profile of the best player in the world and trying to find a way to beat them. Every NFL coach in the game also had their own custom VIP profile based on their real-world play calling and tendencies. Even the celebrities you play against in the crib had their own. Features like this are what set the game apart from the rest, and why this game is still so widely praised. The immersion during gameplay was phenomenal. It was the little things that set 2K apart. You could watch an instant replay at any time, even mid-play, compared to waiting on Madden for the play to finish, and then probably a few more seconds after that until you can actually click replay. Challenging plays gave you numerous options as to what to challenge, compared to Madden deciding that for you. The announcers were more accurate calling the game than Madden's and seemed to be more aware of different in-game occurrences, such as a kickoff going through the uprights, or a player doing crazy spin moves and jukes like Dante Hall. The referees threw flags onto the field. The chain gang would come and measure the spot of the ball if the play was ruled down close to the marker. Injured players would have teammates run over and call for help, while sideline reporter Susie Colbert broke the news. During quarter breaks, the game would showcase cheerleaders. Seriously, how can a company make a football game without cheerleaders? The immersion of the game was simply remarkable. Somehow, no game has ever come close to matching it. And then there is the gameplay. Easily the highlight of 2K5. The CPU AI was tuned so well. You'd have linebackers point and recognize a protection change and move his position accordingly. The charge mechanic made the gameplay different than the rest of football games. You would hold down X or A to charge a meter, and then the player could either sprint, truck, spin, juke, or jump with an extra boost. Defenders could also use the charge before a tackle for a big hit. It was basically the hit stick in button form. Receivers could locate the ball in the air and change directions accordingly. An issue that plagued Madden then, and still does today, is throwing trajectory. In 2K5 you could lob a pass over a defender to an open receiver, instead of worrying about throwing a pick to a linebacker with a 6-foot vertical. The highlight of the gameplay, however, was the running game. Following your blockers was a dream in this game, as linemen would pancake their first guy and then continue upfield and continue making blocks for the runner. Players would always engage in plays where the guard pulls were executed exceptionally well. What really set this game apart were the players. The ratings had a very large separation, with backup players being in the 40s and top players being up to 100 overall. Throwing to Randy Moss felt like you were throwing to Randy Moss. Brett Favre had a cannon, and you could tell. There was a difference between an Eddie George or a Tiki Barber. Shutdown corners shut down opposing receivers. You could replay any snap and focus on a player and watch a realistic simulation matchup between two players. The smoothness, the fluidity, and the overall feel of this game was and still is unrivaled. The game's soundtrack was very smooth, very mellow, and just very nice. I put a link in the description to a playlist of all the songs used in the game. Clean Living by RJD2, Knock Me Down Girl by Slicker, and Oceanic Lullaby by J Boogie are songs I still constantly listen to. For players new to American football video games, or even just the sport itself, the game offers a reference guide that educates players on every play, package, formation, NFL lingo, trivia, and it also offers a game manual explaining strategies and how to play the game.
Damn.
EA ended up lowering the price of their game to $29.99 in an effort to keep up with 2K, but the following year, Madden 06 was back at full price, and there was no NFL 2K6. Not only did EA sign an exclusive rights deal with the NFL, but also with ESPN, one of the bigger selling points to all of Sega's sports games, and yet EA never even took advantage of this license in Madden. 15 years later, Sega ended up selling the 2K name and the Visual Concepts studio to Take-Two Interactive for $24 million shortly after. It turns out that by lowering the price of their game to $19.99, Sega effectively killed off their own series, as the NFL was unhappy with the idea that their premium brand could be discounted, and that triggered their licensing talks with EA. Years later, 2K attempted to re-enter the football video game market with All Pro Football 2K8, a great game in its own right, but due to the lack of an NFL license, the game simply didn't sell well enough to warrant a sequel.
Damn.
Since 2007, 2K Football has been missing, and EA's Madden series has gotten more mediocre with each release, leaving football video games in a sad state. 2K5's legacy lives on, however, through modern technology and a devoted fan base. Every year, new rosters are released for the game on Operation Sports forums, and through PS2 emulation on PC, The game can be rendered in 4K at a stable 60 frames per second, giving the game new life. While we may never see another 2K football game again, we will always have 2K5, and even today, the gameplay holds up. It may not look as pretty as Madden, but the foundation the game was built upon is much stronger. From the presentation, to ball trajectory, to offensive blocking AI, to defensive back play, to CPU recognition, to franchise mode depth and customizability, to immersion and innovation, ESPN NFL 2K5 is still the best football video game available, and there's a good chance it always will be.
Damn. Yeah, man. Fuck EA, man. Y'all really... Fuck EA and fuck the NFL for fucking up football games for us. Because Madden has been the same for years upon years. Like, think about it. When's the last time y'all see me play Madden on this channel? I ain't played Madden on this channel since Madden 06. Since Madden 16. I ain't played Madden since, bro. It's the same fucking game every year. Nothing has changed. Like, I wait for the game to be free on EA Play. And then I play it and then I realize it's just the same fucking game. Now I don't even want to play it for free no more, bro. I don't even want to play it for $5 no more. $5 a month. I don't even want to play it no more. Because it's garbage. Straight doo-doo juice. I don't even want to play it no more, man. Fuck EA. Fuck Madden. Like I said, when the football season starts up, I'm going to do something special for 2K5. You're going to start seeing some NFL 2K5 content on this channel when the football season starts up. But for right now, it's still basketball season for the moment. We're getting close to the NBA Finals. And yep, that's just going to about do it for this one. I will see you on the next video. Tell me what y'all think down in the comment section below. I'll get back to you. Till then, peace out.